All right, hey, welcome to another Tuesday morning talk. This week's topic is having the willingness to ask for the things that you need. Now, today I have with me Miss Yuma Bella and our videographer, Kevin. He's a man too, you know. So, the topic, you know, you had a couple of questions. Could we start with that one question that you had?
Let's start off with, so in terms of like asking, right? Let me ask you, what do you mean by that? Because you know, as we were walking, we were talking.
Yeah.
You were saying there's different ways of asking. We're not talking about the way he's asking for something, but we're talking about this, right?
Well,
so let's talk about what that is.
So I think the gist of our conversation was, when should you ask for the things that you need? When is it appropriate, right? And what's the frame around that, right? She actually had a bunch of good topics too, so we're gonna get you involved in this conversation. So let's just start with this story of when I was starting the gyms, and some things that I brought with me from the streets that I probably shouldn't have brought with me, but they taught me in the streets that you pay cash for everything, right? This, you know, it was a big bragging thing. Yeah, you pay cash for everything. I pay cash. I pay cash. So, you know, when I started the gyms, instead of asking for credit and things of that nature, I did not ask because I had anxiety about asking people that did not look like me for assistance. Because, you know, obviously it was going to be a little bit harder for me to win them over. But first of all, I didn't want to deal with denial. Let's just keep it real. I didn't want to hear somebody tell me no. So I went out and hustled up all that money and started the first place, and then I hustled up the money and started the next place, and then I talked other people into doing stuff along the same lines, and then we ended up with all these damn places, and then we got into trouble and we didn't have any credit. That was not the best way to start. I brought some bullshit along with me, right? And it made me think about, how come you didn't ask for the things that you needed, even if they would have told you no? And maybe the first place, I didn't need to ask people. But I ended up with like 11 places going at one time with no credit. You know, when things started getting funny, man, I was in trouble, right? It was hard to manage all of that. And I still hadn't developed the piece of being able to ask, right? So to your point, that's part of it, right? Now the second part would be, you know, we don't ever really do anything by ourselves, right? Because you told me that you had a lot of these same ideas. You're gonna do everything by yourself. Yeah, well, to do complicated shit, you need other people, right? So, and if you need other people, how are they gonna know that you need them? In case you ask, right? In case you can express yourself, right? But I'd like your idea or your input about when you go out to ask people for stuff, because when you ask for things, you also take on some liability with that. And a lot of times, if you can't, if you don't have the backbone to withstand the liability, then you probably shouldn't be asking, right? Don't ask for $1 million when you know you're a $100,000 person, right? I mean, that was actually, I hadn't thought about that, but I stayed away from a lot of stuff like that because I didn't feel like, you know, maybe I wasn't in that bracket or whatever, you know, it wasn't the sky's the limit. I asked for what I needed when I got to a point where I can actually manage my own feelings and emotions, all right? So, yeah, that's where I'm at on that particular topic. Could you give me a little bit more insight on what we talked about? Yeah.
So, for one, you're not gonna get anything unless that you can match them. So
yeah.
Asking is like worth nothing if you can match them.
Yeah.
Two, you're gonna walk away from great relationships if you can deliver them.
Yeah.
Don't do it with your again.
Yeah, you gotta be able to deliver though. That's that part, right? That's how you build, right? If I ask you to do something with me, and I know damn well I ain't cut for it, I'm just trying to hit a home run, right?
But what I do say is that most of us think that we are only worth 100,000,
Yeah.
and we're really worth $1 million.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
There's no difference between someone earning 10,000 or 100,000.
Yeah.
It's the differences that you're not asking.
Yeah. So, case in point, what I told you about the gym, right? And the trainers in the gym. Because the way our thing is situated is it's self-driven, right? Like you make as much money as you want to. So what's the difference between the dude that's making $2,000 a month and the dude that's making $10,000 a month? What do you think the difference is between those two people? Because obviously if you're making $2,000 a month, whatever you did to make $2,000 a month, you just do it 5 times over to make $10,000. It's your fucking mindset. That's what the big difference is, right? So, you know, your mindset has a big deal on how you're gonna go about, well, first of all, how you feel about yourself, right? And if you feel a certain way about yourself, then you might be able to ask for more things, right? Because if you can repay, or if you can build relationships, build bridges, and that's how you grow shit. You know, I mean, man.
And can you give us a more like a real life example? Because when we chat, you're bringing these real examples out to the plate, right? Nothing too much, I guess, but like, is there something that you can bring up?
Well, I think that was a great fucking example right there. Did you hear what I just said?
No, yeah, I did.
What is the difference, right? Yeah. All right, I actually watch people. I sat there and watched these dudes, and I was like, shit, man. And sometimes, a lot of times, the more educated person was the one making $2,000, right? And the hungry dude with the GED was making $10,000. You know, shit, that's crazy. You know?
But you know, we covered something earlier, right, that I thought was interesting. So part of it is, hey, you gotta ask and kind of ask yourself first, what am I asking for that keeps me in the same place at this $10,000 and I can get past it?
Yeah.
And so sometimes you ask for what you need and you have to have the willingness to do that. But sometimes you also have to ask for what you're not willing to hear. For people to tell you, specific people that are willing to be honest with you and tell you what you're missing to get you there.
Yep. So this part, that part about hearing, well, I just spoke about that with the credit thing, right? I didn't ask because I didn't want to hear no. And at the beginning, I was so fragile that I just was like, man, I'm not about to let these dudes tell me I can't do this. Especially, they didn't look like me. I was like, nah, man, I'm already getting beat down everywhere in society, right? And the place that I was coming from, I'm just like, I can't accept no when I know I could go hustle this money up. I knew that for sure I could hustle up the money to do what I needed, at least once. I could hustle up enough money to do that one gym. And I knew I could hustle up money to do 2. I could do that. But I just kept doing this shit, man. I ended up with all that shit. I'm like, man, I don't know. I dug a hole for myself. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I think that was a good lesson to learn. I learned that lesson the hard way. As most of the talks you heard, that I learned a lot of things through trial and error, right? And I'm still here kicking, so it was worth it, you know? But I just want to share this stuff with you guys so you don't have to make the same mistakes, you know? It's just crazy that actually happened, right? And you know, I thought I was doing the right stuff because, again, I had been taught by hood dudes. You know, that's who I initially learned how to make money, right? Out there. You know, I took that shit with me, man. We ran with that.
How do you get past the shame, what you've been taught, what you've seen in your family, the embarrassment of getting a no? How do you get past that, and why do you then do it?
Because I think at some point, like anything else, you realize what your deficiencies are, right? And that's the part, right? When we're being truthful with ourselves about what we do well and what we don't do well, shit, man, that's like the winning piece right there. Those of us who understand where we can, you know, the areas of weakness, if we understand the areas of weakness, then you know how to supplement, you know how to move, right? But if you're gonna ignore your area of weakness and act like that shit's not there, you got shit on your nose, so you don't smell that shit? How is it that you don't smell the shit on your nose? It's like right here. But again, it's right on the tip of your nose, right? But you still got nostrils, right? You don't have to see it. Your actions are the shit on the tip of your nose, right? So I watch myself doing certain things and I'm just like, you know, like I told you, I get the pit in my stomach still when I'm like dealing with my inadequacies, right? And that's good because the pit in my stomach makes me move, right? It makes me want to do something about it, right? And you're supposed to have all these feelings, right? But when you recognize those feelings, then you can actually start taking some action. It feels bad for a fucking reason, right? That's the reason, right? Like, damn, dude, you need to do something about this. That's why you don't fucking feel good about it, you know? If it felt good, you just keep doing it, right? I ate a hamburger, it felt good. It's easy to kick back and get fat. It made me feel good, you know? But yeah, that's how all that stuff worked out for me. Ah, man, life is, trying to figure oneself out is some crazy shit, ain't it? Right? But it's good to have another set of eyes, right? And that's why I asked you guys to be here, because it's good to have other sets of eyes on particular topics and things, right? You put another set of eyes on there and get other input, especially with people that you trust. Man, that's what's happening, right? If you build relationships with that and you have people you can trust, you know, I would have to say one thing about my business partner, Neil. Whatever that dude ain't, he's somebody I could talk to, right? And that's the reason why I stayed in business with him for so long, right? He had different qualities than me because he had different background and different upbringing, and I could actually, I'm way more aggressive than him, right? Way more aggressive than him. But sometimes I'm fucking too aggressive, right? And I know when I'm doing it, I'll go ask him, how was that? You know, did I, you know? He's like, no, that was cool. I was like, all right. But sometimes I don't know, because I've been socialized a different way, right? So I can't see everything, but I know that I have this. So I actually went to him and I asked him to help me in this department in our relationships with people. Sometimes I'm too direct for soft motherfuckers, but we still need to work with them, right? I got to figure out how to figure myself out to get them to do stuff for me, and I don't know when to turn it off, right? So in our relationship, we identified what he did, what I did, and I'm like, dude, sometimes I need you to hit me under the table, you know, give me the table, like, you're going in too hard, you know, like, oh, my bad. But then sometimes it's needed, right? I done went hard, sometimes we got everything that we needed. But then sometimes I done blew up deals, pissed people off. And I was doing that, and then I remember I did some stuff, I messed up a few things, and then I went back to him, and I said, what could I have done better? And I called him like, what did I say? And you know, these was like relationships with people that I didn't want to mess up the relationship, but again, I was just keeping it real. But I could have probably used a little bit more tact, you know, but hey, I knew that about myself, and I went back and I rearranged a lot of that stuff, you know, so that's just that.
So
you know,
off the topic of that, advice you would give either your younger self or someone else that's watching of this topic, right? So you just said right there, if I, you know, go back, like, what would you do different, right?
I mean, I just wish I would have recognized a lot of this stuff earlier, but I'm fucking telling you right now, right? I just told you, right? Some of this stuff I had to learn. Some of these things I had to fix with myself as I was going down the path. Some of these things caused me to lose money, friendships, whatever, you know? It's just part of it.
But I think it's important to say, right, that even if you have done it in the past, even if you're in that same place right now, it's never too late to make that change, right?
No,
So
definitely not.
sometimes you just hear it, it's maybe hearing you, hearing somebody else. Something has to click for you to make that switch.
Yeah.
But having the willingness to ask, it's also that.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm not there yet, but I need to ask somebody to help me get out.
Don't let your pride,
Yeah.
don't let your pride fuck you over. You know? And pride. I done seen people get put in the ground over pride. I mean, it's good to have pride, right?
You have to be proud.
I'm a proud motherfucker, man, you know. But I realize that, you know, in some instances, you need to sit that shit down, right? And that's the part where you deal with your emotions, right? And I just think that some of us do it better than others. I've gotten better over the years with that, and some of that is just age, right? I aged, you know, and I'm still here, right? But shit, man, some of that stuff I remember younger me, man. Holy shit. I don't even want to see that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't a bad dude, but just all the mistakes, man, you know. But you know what? I'm up for trying, right? So mistakes come along with that. And like I told you before, the only person that can't appreciate someone trying and making mistakes is somebody who ain't fucking participating, right? You ain't participating. If you look at me and watch my mistakes and you got something to say about my mistakes instead of watching how I deal with my mistakes. You know, Elon Musk will watch me and be like, oh, that was pretty good tuck and roll you just did right there. Because, I mean, people who do shit make mistakes. And people who don't make mistakes don't do shit. You ain't doing nothing. You don't do, that's how you not make a mistake. You don't do shit. You sit at the house. You can't make a mistake like that. You know what I'm saying? You just fucking stay at home, man. You know? Stay in the bleachers, third deck. You ain't on the field, you know? So I'm trying to get on the field, man, and play, you know? So with that being said, I think you guys really brought some stuff to this topic, man, and I appreciate your input. And even Duke had something to say. Duke, what you got to say? Huh? Duke, hey. Anyway, he don't want to talk today, you know? So we're gonna close this out, and if you want to like, share, fucking subscribe, please do, and we'll see you next week.